I'm Jonathan Keith. This is my wife Sarah. We're fifth generation of my family farming this land. Property is called Glenlogie, and we're located in the Glenlogie Valley, just between Ararat and Avoca. We run just under 4,000 Super Fine Merinos and 300 Angus beef cattle. We also run a small crossbred operation as a bit of a sideline to our Merinos, and do a little bit of cereal cropping. About 4 years ago, we were working with very dilapidated sheep yards. They were 50 or 60 years old, they were falling apart. And we needed a solution to improve our stock handling, particularly at our yards. We'd looked at a variety of ways of doing it, from sheep handlers to bulk handlers to just improving our yards. And it just so happened that in the early stages of COVID, Pari were able to come and demonstrate one of their machines locally. And by the research I'd done, I realised that they were a pretty good product, and we decided we'd settle on the HD3 as our chosen sheep handler. We were having trouble adequately drenching our stock. We were trying to pick a weight to drench to. The facilities we were using were run down and just not working for us. And so purchase of the HD3 kick-started a whole rebuild of our sheep yards, which culminated with a roof over the top to protect the asset we'd invested in. And it
makes life a lot easier for all of us.
Yep, it's been a fantastic investment. It's taken sheep work, particularly jobs like drenching, from being something you'd get up in the morning and dread to something you almost look forward to doing.
And it shaves a lot of time off that particular job.
So yeah, at that point, once we'd purchased the machine and in the early stages of learning how to set it up and use it, we very quickly realised that we could improve our flock overall just by being able to run them through a handler, get an idea of weight. We could remove the tail end from a mob, and very quickly our flock overall started to improve in appearance, but just generally a more consistent flock. So yeah, after a couple of years of having our Racewell working for us and new yards built around it, unfortunately in February this year our area was impacted by a fairly large bushfire. It burnt around about 23,000 hectares. Unfortunately 400 hectares of our property was included in that. We lost 20 odd kilometres of fencing, we lost a couple of hundred sheep, but we were able to save the majority of our sheep, but they all got boxed together in the process. So after the fire, one of the first things in the recovery was to bring our sheep through the yards and start to draft them back into their mobs. That would have been an absolutely daunting task, having to do it in the old yards, but we were able to bring them in here and work on them under cover at night, under lights, in the cool of the evening, early March.
Yep.
And it was a very easy process just to run them through the handler, manually look at an ear tag and just manually draft 3 ways to sort all the different mobs of sheep back out.
We needed to identify how many we lost, and also put them back into their mobs.
Yeah, so the handler not only gave us the ability to very easily draft them, but it was keeping a count as we were doing it.
Yeah.
And so at the end of 4 or 5 days work, we'd run well over 3,000 sheep through it, some of them multiple times to get the drafts right. And we had a count of what sheep were left in each mob, and gave us a reasonably accurate count of how many we'd lost. And yeah, really got us back on track with our stock after the fire. So when we first purchased the HD3, the platform on which the software operated was the T30. It wasn't very long after purchasing it we were upgraded to the macro stock system, and it's certainly an easier system to use. It's got a lot of features that are very accessible, and it allows you to get counts on drafts, to get a total count. It'll record average weights for each draft. There's so many different things it'll do, but in the recovery from the bushfire and sorting out our mobs of sheep, we were able to do that drafting process, and using macro stock as the brains behind it, able to get the counts, the tallies of what was in each mob. The most recent piece of Pari equipment that we've purchased is the Revolution dosing gun. We use that not just with our Racewell HD3, but we also use it with the cattle crush, integrated with that macro stock and the tablet running the system. You're dosing by weight, So you're getting a very accurate application of either oral drench or a backline. And
Saving us a lot of money by doing that.
yeah, it's certainly with some of the products, when you're backlining cattle, it's a massive saving by getting that right. But the other benefit, of course, is your animal health. Several years ago, we had a degree of worm burden, and by using the combination of all the equipment, the sheep handler and the dosing gun, we've been able to apply more regular drenching and more accurately applied, and we've completely eliminated what we perceived was a worm problem. I'd like to think that we've got another 10 or 15 years of doing this, and it's definitely...
It's easier on us at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to make our job in the sheep yards so much easier.